Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Stuck in the Catch Fence. I'm Ryan Peters, your host. Just want to start a short but quick video here talking about NASCAR gaming or the state of NASCAR gaming. So imagine this is a pit stop and we're just topping it off with fuel. So I want to talk about it. And the reason why I want to talk about it is because NASCAR gaming has been in this place right now where it's really into purgatory. If you've been part of the NASCAR gaming scene and probably wondering why, I think a lot of it is we've talked a lot on this show about what NASCAR can do to grow its fan base, especially hitting the youth. And being, only 32 years old myself and being a part of the gaming side of things, which I do thoroughly enjoy. I have a racing wheel. I mean, not a high budget type of thing, but I love racing. And I like the opportunity to at least virtually try to replicate the sport that I really, really love. Well, Motorsport Games has just now come out and said that they will not be releasing a NASCAR game for the foreseeable future. Supposed to release one this year after delaying it from last year. And if you play NASCAR 21 Ignition, you would know that that's probably the worst NASCAR game ever made. And right now, Motorsport Games, who owns the exclusive license where nobody else can make another NASCAR game using its likeness or anything of that nature, we are now going to go 3+ years without a NASCAR game and really years without having a good NASCAR game. Some people like the NASCAR Heat franchises. I was one of them. I enjoyed it. Obviously, the first two were a learning, a foundation was built, but by 3, 4, and 5, I really found myself enjoying it. And we're now going to go at least half a decade without a decent NASCAR game, without even a NASCAR game being released almost, let alone a decent one. Some would even go back to the Thunder series. And if you remember those games, NASCAR 98, NASCAR 99, while they were not the most realistic replication of NASCAR, they were fun. I mean, I remember being 8, 9 years old. Molly Hatchet comes on flirting with disaster. And if I wasn't winning the race, I just turned paintballs on and made everybody wreck. That's one of the only games my dad even played with me, let alone, just enjoying it from a whole. And yes, NASCAR was more popular. And, everybody was able to enjoy the sport. PlayStation just came out for the first time. So there's these different multitudes to build around it. But now as we enter into an age where gaming is becoming my generation, even a little bit of an older generation, moving down to the kids, they have not been able to play a solid NASCAR game. And I think the reason why I'm doing this on this channel is because I want to see NASCAR grow as a whole. And now we're almost to the point where we're never going to see a good NASCAR game. I remember going to my babysitters and playing the famous NASCAR Racing 2003 built by Papyrus and spending way too many hours upon that game. And it was one of the funnest things I've, have memories of doing that type of racing. And there's still a community building upon that today that the generation now will never know what that was like. So if NASCAR wants to build its product, if it wants to reach to, a younger generation, my kids' generation, and for the foreseeable future, kids in high school, things of that nature, one way of doing that is through video games. We've talked on this show, is it going to be shorter videos? Is it content that they can have and then scroll through? Well, one way is for certain that is able to devote many hours to enhance NASCAR is through video games. And Motorsport Games, since taking over for Monster Games, has spent millions of dollars. I mean, millions upon millions. They've made one game. They own the exclusive license for IndyCar. They own the official license for British Touring Car, and they now have the NASCAR exclusive license where nobody else is able to replicate these things. And now they're not even putting out games. I mean, Motorsport Games is a publicly traded company that had a ton of money. Looks to be more like a Ponzi scheme where they duped a lot of people, including NASCAR, and they got an exclusive license for NASCAR till 2029. And after having the worst product that I've ever seen in terms of gaming with NASCAR Ignition 21, this is what we've been left. Another slap in the face due to a bad business deal without doing their due diligence from NASCAR. Another way that NASCAR had an opportunity to gain a generation, even if that is the doorway to watch your product, I promise you it'll work. the Codemasters games, a well developed game that's now bought by EA, but the Formula One games are really, really fun. That's just one way for you to get to engage with something and then try to move towards the real life product of it. And NASCAR has swung and missed. And they're now going to look for the foreseeable future without it. Say Motorsports Games, which definitely has a possibility of going under. I mean, they literally have changed their entire board. The only person that hasn't changed is their CEO, and he notoriously has left other companies after leaving them essentially bankrupt. Now you're talking about another license going to somebody else, taking 3 to 4 more years to build a decent NASCAR game, which would, again, would be the foundation, and another generation lost when it comes to, again, finding a way to reach the youth, to promote your product that translates to eyes, that translates to dollars, that translates to butts and seats that you have now missed. So it's essentially the death certificate for NASCAR gaming. We may not see another NASCAR game for almost a decade. I think that's realistic. We may not. We're going on 15 years since really the last really, really good NASCAR games were developed. And think about how the only thing that we in NASCAR do go, how do we innovate and move the sport forward? And more importantly, how do we draw ourselves entertaining a younger audience? Well, when it comes to entertaining your younger audience, that's virtually translating what happens on Sunday into a video game that they can pick up and play at any time, grow to love it, grow to enjoy it, buy a racing wheel to try to engage in it. See how hard it really is to attempt virtually to go 400 to 500 miles. That's how you really educate your young fans and find a way for them to go, wow, this sport is really hard, but it's also really fun. It's, it's a way to connect that no other way is possible outside of it being fake. And you don't even offer that to your consumer base outside of doing iRacing, which again it's a whole nother entity. It's very, very, very expensive. You have to have a solid computer on top of it. And most households just simply don't have that when it comes to those type of resources. So again, I just want to talk to you guys about it. Want to see what your guys' thoughts are when it comes to the death of NASCAR gaming, essentially is what this video will be called. And maybe tell me if you agree or disagree. As someone, again, who loves to enjoy sports, not only in real life, but on the virtual scene as well, getting this news from Motorsport Gaming really, really hit hard. I was really looking forward to at least another opportunity. I didn't think Motorsports Games was going to do it. I was hoping NASCAR would mention a breach of contract, since they haven't made a game every year like they were initially sold to NASCAR that they would. But that doesn't look like it's going to happen either. Now, IndyCar fans who haven't had a IndyCar game in like 15 years, maybe 18 years, are not going to get one because they just had their game delayed, as they announced it today as well officially. And I would hold that they'll never see an IndyCar game. I think they got duped. And whenever big corporations like NASCAR and IndyCar get duped, it really comes down to us, the connoisseur of the sport, the connoisseur of the video game, the connoisseur of the product that's now not available to us to enjoy it, not just on Sunday, but Monday through Saturday as well, and pretending that we ourselves are the one behind the wheel, whether it be virtually or an actual racing wheel that we can use to replicate a sport that we love and is immensely in need of a growing youth. So that's going to wrap it up. Tell me your thoughts. If you like this video, like, share, and you can also subscribe to the channel as well. We go over betting, we go over NASCAR news, post-race shows. We try to do it all here on Stuck in the Catch Fence. So again, I appreciate your time. We'll see you in the next video.